Jesus said to his disciples, "As it was in the days of Noah, so it will be at the coming of the Son of Man. In those days before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, up to the day that Noah entered the ark. They did not know until the flood came and carried them all away. So will it be also at the coming of the Son of Man."
Mastered. I want you to understand that. There's a difference today. In our mindset, what we have is, we have this mindset that everybody started out and they all had to learn these things, and they're not like us. Okay, let me put it this way. I want to try to change your thinking, because Satan has twisted your thinking around. Here's what Satan has made all of us think. Satan has made all of us think is that they were cavemen and we're the smart men. And I want to reverse it, and I want to say, no, we're more like the knuckle dragon cavemen, and they were advanced intelligence and advanced beings in an advanced civilization. That's the understanding. Of course, we're not cavemen. We're made in God's image and all that. But the point is that we are getting dumber. They are getting smarter. Now, I also have a theory, which I believe lines up with the scriptures. And that is this, that we will not attain to the knowledge that they had, or the advanced civilization. We have attained to a portion of that and are heading to an even more portion, a greater portion of that when we get into the singularity. When the singularity is met and you get to that point, you're going to merge man with the machine and with the ghost in the machine, which is Satan, and then online, and then you become online, where facts and everything with a chip in the forehead or in the right arm is going to make you like a god. Okay? They're already working it. They're already doing it now. It's already happening now. We cannot attain to what they had because of the environment. We're going to talk about that in another sermon or another message where we'll deal with the environment. Because it's important to understand that their environment was way different than ours. And their intelligence was partly because of their environment. And partly because we're a copy of 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 a lot of copies.
And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, Is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms, that made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners? All the kings of the nations, even all of them, lie in glory, every one in his own house. But thou art cast out of thy grave like an abominable branch, and as the raiment of those that are slain, thrust through with a sword, that go down to the stones of the pit, as a carcass trodden under feet. Thou shalt not be joined with them in burial, because thou hast destroyed thy land, and slain thy people. The seed of evildoers shall never be renowned.
There are ones in this that they found. But this is perfectly preserved. And it's from the pre-Columbian airplane models. Is the concept of the airplane limited to Egypt? That doesn't seem to be the case. Gold trinkets were found in an area covering Central America and coastal areas of South America, estimated to belong to a period between 500 and 800 CE. But since they are made from gold, accurate dating is impossible. and based essentially on stratigraphy, which may be deceptive. However, we could safely say these gold objects are more than 1,000 years old. Well, they don't want to tell you the truth. They're more than 4,000 years old, and they were around before the flood, and they were probably using, these were a model, but I believe they were using planes. The Chinese write about people flying over in their ancient documents. Others, the Sumerians, I believe, and others, they write about ancient aircrafts that were flying over. They write in their history about these men came flying in, defeated them, destroyed their armies, and flew back and left. Yeah. You believe that could be possible? I believe so.
Prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. For I will rise up against them, saith the Lord of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name, and remnant, and son, and nephew, saith the Lord. I will also make it a possession for the bittern and pools of water, and I will sweep it with the besom of destruction, saith the Lord of hosts. The Lord of hosts hath sworn, saying, Surely as I have thought, so shall it come to pass, and as I have purposed, so shall it stand, that I will break the Assyrian in my land, and upon my mountains tread him underfoot. Then shall his yoke depart from off them, and his burden depart from off their shoulders. This is the purpose that is purposed upon the whole earth, and this is the hand that is stretched out upon all the nations. For the Lord of hosts hath purposed, and who shall disannul it? And his hand is stretched out, and who shall turn it back?
These mighty men, not just mighty in stature, mighty in intellect, mighty in their deeds. What does the Bible say about Nimrod? He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. That word mighty means Gabor. That's the word Gabor. It means giant. Okay, and what were they? The original. Adam was the original, right? And Adam was a son of God, right? God made Adam in his likeness after his own image. So Adam was a perfect copy. Adam's understanding, intelligence, remember when I showed you, and we'll talk about that in advanced civil, an advanced mind. And these people had an advanced mind. They were not like us. And that's important to understand because it destroys evolution. That's why these things, no pun intended, are buried.
And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. And the Lord said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh. Yet his days shall be 120 years. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown.
Capabilities are awful. What they can do. They had demonic ability, plus they were using the environment. They were using their superior intellect, their superior size, the help of devils. They were fallen angels, giants. We're not going to get into them today, but we're going to talk about them again.
First, let's learn about the legend of Atlantis. There have been many legends about the existence of this mysterious city, in which there is a legend that has been spread by many people to this day. Atlantis is the seat of the king of the seas, the god Poseidon. Neptune to the Romans was a son of the Titans, giants, Cronus and Rhea, and the brother of the supreme god Zeus. Human sacrifice and sun-worshipping were prevalent, as were adultery and corruption. The mixtures were used and abused.
All right, Genesis chapter 4, verse number 18, it says, And unto Enoch was born Irad, and Irad begat Mehulah, and Mehulah begat Methuselah, and Methuselah begat Lamech. And Lamech took unto him two wives. The name of the one was Ada, the name of the other Zillah. And Ada bare Jabal. He was the father of such as dwell in tents, and of such as have cattle. So we see here's a man that was like a master of cattle, of understanding a farmer, and understanding how to raise cattle and everything else. He was a man that was these are not men that were learning this technique. These were men that had it mastered. So, and Zillah, she also bare Tubal-Cain, an instructor of every artificer and brass and iron, and the sister of Tubal-Cain was Naamah. Now, what does it say here? It says, she bare Tubal-Cain. Does anybody know which mystery religion holds up Tubal-Cain as a very central figure? Freemasonry. Freemasonry does. Why is that? Because he was a master. He was a master of metal. Yeah, why didn't you know that? You have the handshake now. Anyway, better not. I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there. Never mind. Anyway, sorry. That's one of those things that has to be buried, but it just comes up once in a while. Hard to. It segued really well. Anyway, but Tubal-Cain, an instructor of every artificer in brass and iron. This was a master instructor of brass and iron. He not only was good at it, he was a master at it, and he taught others. He would have been a master of his art. And then you understand the line of who these men came from. Who were these men? Of. Yes. Many of them were evil men. This proves a lot. It proves that much of technology came from evil people. And when you study anything to do with modern technology, you find out that, well, I'm going to show you today that modern technology may not be so modern. It may be ancient technology. All right, and so Tubal-Cain, he was a master of that, and it shows like who these people were and what they were a part of and how they were. But anyway, and his brother's name was Jubal, and he was the father of all such as handle the harp and the organ. As handle the harp and the organ. This man was a master musician. See, you don't. Today we have to work our way up and practice and to learn these things. These men already had that intelligence. God had placed it in them. They were advanced. Their world was advanced. More so than what we can really fathom. These are not popular things to talk about with most people because they don't want to believe this, because they've been sold on evolution so long that everybody in the past were just a bunch of knuckle-dragging apes, and that's all they were.
Came to pass, when the children of men had multiplied, that in those days were born unto them beautiful and comely daughters. And the angels, the children of the heaven, saw and lusted after them, and said to one another, Come, let us choose wives from among the children of men, and beget us children. And Samyaza, who was their leader, said unto them, I fear ye will not indeed agree to do this deed, and I alone shall have to pay the penalty of a great sin. And they all answered him, Swear an oath, and all bind ourselves by mutual imprecations, not to abandon this plan, but to do this thing. Then swear they all together, and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. And they were in all 200, who descended in the days of Jared on the summit of Mount Hermon. And they called it Mount Hermon, because they had sworn and bound itself from thee. Thou seest what Azazel has done, who hath taught all unrighteousness on earth, and revealed the eternal secrets which were preserved in heaven, which men were striving to learn. And Samyaza, to whom thou hast given authority to bear rule over his associates, and they have gone to the daughters of men upon the earth, and they have slept with the women, and have defiled themselves, and revealed to them all kinds of sins. And the women have borne giants, and the whole earth has thereby been filled with blood and unrighteousness. And now, behold, the souls of those who have died are crying, and making their suit to the gates of heaven. And their lamentations have ascended, and cannot cease because of the lawless deeds which are wrought on the earth. And thou knowest all things before they come to pass, and thou seest these things, and thou dost suffer them, and thou dost not say to pregnant. And they bare great giants, whose height was 3,000 ells, who consumed all the acquisitions of men. And when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them, and devoured mankind. And they began to sin against birds, and beasts, and reptiles, and fish, and to devour one another's flesh, and drink the blood. Then the earth laid accusation against the lawless ones.
And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord.
In those days we read that, and God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth. Well, the wickedness of man is great in the earth now, isn't it? Not to the level as it was there. Not to that level. And that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. Friend, if God let you live out your imagination, whoa, would it be a bad world? Do you understand? They were living out with the capabilities to live out their imagination. And they were doing it. And they weren't using it for good. They were using it for evil.
Go to Noah, and tell him in my name, hide thyself, and reveal to him the end that is approaching, that the whole earth will be destroyed, and a deluge is about to come upon the whole earth, and will destroy all that is on it. And now instruct him that he may escape, and his seed may be preserved for all the generations of the world.
Make thee an ark of gopher wood. Rooms shalt thou make in the ark, and shalt pitch it within and without with pitch. And this is the fashion which thou shalt make it of. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, the breadth of it 50 cubits, and the height of it 30 cubits. A window shalt thou make to the ark, and in a cubit shalt thou finish it above. And the door of the ark shalt thou set in the side thereof. With lower, second, and third stories shalt thou make it. And behold, I, even I, do bring a flood of waters upon the earth, to destroy all flesh wherein is the breath of life from under heaven. And everything that is in the earth shall die. But with thee will I establish my covenant, and thou shalt come into the ark, thou and thy sons and thy wife, and thy sons' wives with thee. And of every living thing of all flesh, 2 of every sort shalt thou bring into the ark, to keep them alive with thee. They shall be male and female. Of fowls after their kind, and of cattle after their kind, of every creeping thing of the earth after his kind, 2 of every sort shall come unto thee to keep them alive. And take thou unto thee of all food that is eaten, and thou shalt gather it to thee, and it shall be for food for thee and for them. Thus did Noah, according to all that God commanded him, so did he.
Has been corrupted through the works that were taught by Azazel. To him ascribe all sin. And to Gabriel said the Lord, proceed against the bastards and the reprobates, and against the children of fornication, and destroy the children of fornication, and the children of the watchers, from amongst men, and cause them to go forth. Send them one against the other, that they may destroy each other in battle. For length of days shall they not have, and no request that they, their fathers, make of thee, shall be granted unto their fathers on their behalf. For they hope to live an eternal life, and that each one of them will live 500 years. And the Lord said unto Michael, Go, bind Semyaza and his associates, who have united themselves with women, so as to defile themselves with them in all their uncleanliness. And when their sons have slain one another, and they have seen the destruction of their beloved ones, bind them fast for 70 generations in the valleys of the earth, till the day of their judgment and of their consummation, till the judgment that is forever and ever is consummated. In those days they shall be led off to the abyss of fire, and to the torment and the prison in which they shall be confined forever. And whosoever shall be condemned and destroyed will from thenceforth be bound together with them to the end of all generations.